Welcome to Texas Truck Channel. I'm Brian.
I'm Craig.
And this week we're going to talk to you about, do we miss our old truck? Our old truck that we owned for the show, the 2023 Jeep Gladiator Sport. Didn't even have the Sport S. I mean, It was completely stripped. The only options were silver paint and floor mats. That's it. Literally, that's it. So we're talking crank windows, we're talking, well, luckily it had cruise control as standard. That's kind of it. Cloth top, cloth seats, all that stuff.
Now we have a 2024 Toyota Tacoma TRD off-road.
Only options it really has is the automatic transmission and the off-road trim.
Correct.
Which gives you all the mechanical off-road goodness. So
the shocks, the tires, the locker.
Built-in shocks, the trail terrain tires. The rear locker is what we wanted. That's the biggest
That's the main thing we wanted.
And the 8-speed auto was the only option that we did not want.
At the time, that's all I had.
When you're in the YouTube game, you got to get it first, and so that's why we did that, and that's okay. But by the way, TRD off-road manuals are still nearly impossible to find. So
absolutely,
had we waited, we never would have had the months of content we already have. We had the. How long did we have the Jeep?
Boy, we had it for a good minute. I don't know, 4 months, 6 months. How long was it?
3 months.
Oh, was that it?
3 months.
Well, it's been burned in my memory.
I know.
We did a lot in that 3 months.
But we did a ton with it, and we actually, this probably goes to answer part of our question, we really bonded with it.
It became part of the family quick.
Real fast. Both families, by the way.
Yeah.
Your family and mine.
Right.
So
they weren't happy when it was gone.
Yeah, no, they'd be crying for sure. The boys still are, just so you know. So let's kind of get into it, Craig. So I want to talk about, I don't want to get into the comparison of the two so much as, do we miss the old one? What do we like about the old one?
I'll just start with the interior of the Jeep, and this kind of speaks to all the midsiders we keep getting into. I miss the rear seat legroom in the Jeep Gladiator.
Yeah, that's interesting because as a driver, it's arguably the worst front seat of the midsize.
Fair enough,
right?
Yeah.
But for people that have kids or adults, that thing had so much leg room.
It truly did.
It truly
and it had rear AC. I did not feel bad putting an adult back there going to lunch at all. Whereas so many other midsiders, I'm like, do you have enough room? Are you constantly doing that game?
Well, all of them, by the way.
All of them.
So we're in a Ridgeline right now, Honda Ridgeline now, for example, and its rear seat is not the worst, but it's not better than the Gladiator in terms of knee room.
Second best leg room.
Right, exactly.
That said, though, the Tacoma front seat is comfortable.
Yeah.
And way more comfortable than the Jeeps. Good
point. So that kind of covers interior. I think the cockpit of the driver's seat in particular, and the way the knee room is laid out and everything else, is the most comfortable of the midsize and the Tacoma. That's my argument. And conversely, the rear is one of the worst in the rear.
How about you? What's something you missed?
Manual transmission. Now, that's not exclusive to Jeep. Tacoma will give you that too.
Sure.
We just can't seem to find
But in our particular trim, you missed that.
I missed that a lot, especially after we put bigger tires on it. The thing's so light flywheeled and light rolling resistance with the factory tire. It was kind of hard. It felt unintuitive, and that's where I think a lot of the manual transmission complaints come from the Gladiator.
Sure.
When we had a 32-inch tire with a little bit of meat on it, it felt super natural.
Mm-hmm.
So I like that a lot, and I do miss the engagement that gave.
Okay.
Yeah. What's something you did not like about the Gladiator and you're glad we got out of?
Road noise. It was good for what it is. The Gladiator soft top, you would think, would be unbearable. I think we always kind of think in our heads went to the Bronco. The Tacoma is so much quieter relative to that, and really it's just a quiet vehicle overall.
Yeah.
So it's much nicer to take a phone call in the Tacoma than it is the Jeep.
Yeah, the Jeep was, you and I call each other on the way home a lot of times, and it was a challenge in the Jeep. We knew when we were in the Jeep. Jeep did something magical with it in that, yes, the overall volume was high, but it had no hard points. There was no flapping. There was no whistle.
Yeah.
There was nothing that was like...
Pitch is a big issue. Sometimes it's not just the decibels, it's the pitch.
It's the pitch. Yeah. And for a bread box on wheels, I'm telling you right now, the soft top is way quieter than a hard top Bronco, because the Bronco whistles.
Oh, absolutely.
Right here. And it makes the Bronco basically unviable to me.
Yeah.
So I'm going to converse on that. Something I really missed about it was the soft top.
Okay, that's good, yeah.
So, and we've argued about this a lot. For your daily use, you really would like a hard top, wouldn't you?
I would.
Yeah. I'm not that guy. So I'm doing a lot of mixed urban on the way to work, and it's about 18 miles one way. Not a big deal.
Right.
I loved on a day like today when it's not super hot, you just go clip, clip, like a Miata. You flip it back.
Miata-ish. Yeah.
No big deal.
Yeah.
And if it starts raining, you're not dealing with Freedom tops trying to mess with those. I had a trip recently where we had a Jeep rented, and I took those tops on and off 6 times, and I was so sick of them.
Pain in the butt.
Yeah, and it's better than a hard top old Wrangler. But the point being, the soft top was like you can pick on the go. I like that a lot.
Yeah. All right, Brian, what's something you love about our Tacoma over our Jeep?
Man, let's walk into it. Community.
Okay.
And this sounds weird. I did not see this coming at all. So in the overland community,
to be clear, you made fun of Toyota community for a long time.
Yes, and I'm turning. I'm admitting that I'm wrong about this. So I made fun of you in particular, even prior to the show, decades ago. The Toyota community in general will be so excited about the simplest of things, even though the product is 10 years behind its competition. That's what I'm getting at.
I equate it to, I get what you're saying. You're making fun of them a little bit for being okay with substandard things compared to the rest of the automotive world. I get that. But to me, they remind me of the old Volvo community back in the day when the 240s were out and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Where people like knew like the compression ratio of every motor and every bolt spec, and like they're that detailed.
But at least Volvo was leading in safety. They were leading in seat belts and they were leading in interior design at the time, right? Toyota's not leading in anything. That's what bothers me. The Ranger 2.3 EcoBoost is arguably a more dialed package because that motor's been out for a long time. Toyota's made their first swing at the 2.4 and it's a pretty good first swing.
It is.
But the Toyota community is acting like it's the second coming. That's not the case. It is better than the old 6-speed 3.5 in its capability. But back to what I love about the Toyota, we got side railed. We've gone to Toyota Jamboree. We've worked with our buddies at Cali Raised LED. What a great community to work with. Everyone's really cool and they just want to have a good time. Even if they have blinders on for just Toyota, they are getting the lifestyle of it. They've got it right.
Well, that's the point I was trying to make with the Volvo thing is that there's so much support because everybody knows every detail of that truck or vehicle, whatever it is. If you have an FJ Cruiser or if you have an old Land Cruiser or if you have the current Tacoma, that community knows every nut and detail about every spec and bolt and torque setting or whatever it is you're trying to figure out.
It's out there.
Someone in the community has got an answer for it and they're willing to help you.
Yes, and that's what I'm talking about. Very positive community.
Yeah.
I think Toyota's on a gold mine with that. And they know that. They're not wasting that.
Now, okay, you mentioned the Toyota community, but Jeep has a huge community.
You're right. It has a arguably bigger community.
Yeah.
But ducks are worse.
There you go.
Ducks are the worst part. If you're Stellantis, man, you are making ducks. When we bought our truck, I didn't leave the showroom without 12 ducks on the dashboard.
The ducks are annoying. They don't make sense.
The ducks are annoying. They don't make sense. And you look like a moron driving around with them.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get that out there.
I can't argue with that.
Personal opinion. The Toyota guys, on the other hand, kind of look foolish in that they only see Toyota eyes. So they both have their drawbacks, and that's okay.
All right, Ryan. Something I love about the Tacoma, I don't necessarily miss in the Jeep. I love the Pentastar in the Jeep. It was great. It worked. It revved.
The 3.6 V6 you're talking about.
It was fine.
Yeah.
But the Tacoma 4-banger, I'll just be honest, I think it's actually probably a little more capable. It's got more torque down low. It's a good engine, and I'm looking forward to it being refined over the years. I've seen it everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, in the Toyota owners community, I see a lot of third-gen owners getting really mad at the four-cylinder existing because they claim that it's not going to be reliable in 10 years.
Sure.
I need to remind those people, just because Toyota's new to turbos does not mean that they're not reliable technology.
Sure.
Everyone else has been doing it for a while now. Right. I have zero concerns over the longevity of this motor, period, the end.
Yep.
And I'm with you. It's a more capable package, especially with the 8-speed gearing and making it work.
Absolutely.
Now, one of the things I want to bring up, too, is that while they've fixed the gearing, Jeep is still more aggressive with their gearing. If you were to do, we have 33s on ours now, and the mileage dropped formidably.
It did. And that's turbo life.
So there's things like that, and that's part of turbo life. What makes you glad that we have the Tacoma now instead of the Jeep?
I love the Bilstein shocks that it came with.
Yeah, me too.
Those with the remote reservoirs, that's a great standard shock. Out the gate, you don't have to do anything different.
Rides great.
It rides incredible. Not that the Jeep rode bad. The Jeep rode great for a solid axle and for what it is, but the Toyota ride wonderful.
Okay, I agree.
I
Without payload, though.
Exactly.
So when we add our tents, and if you've seen our content, you know all this, we've added rooftop tent and rack. That's about 140 pounds. That alone will make you find bump stops on normal driving.
Yep.
And that's concerning because if you use it as anything other than a lifestyle/off-road tool, even then, if you're doing off-road at anything other than crawling, it's kind of silly. So more on that. We'll come back on that later. What's the number one thing you miss about the Gladiator?
Doors off. There's no truck. You can take the doors off.
And the roof off.
Yeah. And that's fun.
It is a lot of fun. So that's it.
Do you miss the old Jeep?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. And you know how I know? I am watching cars.com all the time and our other places that we look, and they are still available because we haven't talked about price. They are available right now, $10,000 off the hood.
It's unbelievable.
It's unreal, and it's updated, by the way. It's got a new grille and new infotainment. Yeah. It's not like it's some old archaic thing. I've also been educated with owning this. And granted, we've rented Jeeps a million times. We've driven with press cars and stuff. It's a really dialed package for what it is.
It is.
Everything works, and I miss that, and I miss the fun mostly.
The charm and charisma is through the roof in the Jeep.
Through the roof, and the manual actually helps that.
It does.
It really does.
I do miss the Jeep for all the same reasons. But my last question, land here.
Okay.
Do you regret getting the Tacoma?
No.
Well, why not?
Because it's been a substantial tool for our channel. The growth we've seen from it, and
that speaks to the community.
And that's exactly where I was going with that. This is not about the product so much as the community.
Yeah.
We have been enlightened and welcomed into a community I didn't know was so positive.
They're so positive, so accepting. They're just like your family all of a sudden. It's unbelievable.
Absolutely. And it's been really eye-opening for me because I've been on the sidelines making fun of that community for a few years, and I still do, and I still will. Don't worry, that won't change.
Ford, Chevy, they don't have that.
Ford would kill to have this.
Yeah.
Bronco doesn't have this.
Nope.
ZR2 doesn't have this.
Nope.
It's interesting. It really is just Jeep and Toyota, and I didn't realize how welcoming and family-like the Toyota one was. Something that the Tacoma will do that the Gladiator will never be is a dialed daily driver pickup truck.
Yeah, fair enough.
The Jeep is a different thing.
It is definitely
and it's not a jab, it's a thing I still miss. But the moment we bought the Tacoma, because we signed for it and left before we even test drove it, I immediately looked at you and said, Craig, they're not the same thing.
Nope.
They're not. It's like a Japanese Ranger. I've enjoyed that a lot, and it's been good on road trips, and I do not regret the change now.
All right, Brian, to sum it all up, we missed the Jeep,
yep,
but we don't regret getting the Tacoma because we love the community.
Love the community, and it's also been a great thing to learn about.
Absolutely.
Additionally, I'm curious about our audience. After Tacoma, and we're not done with Tacoma, what do you want to see on the show?
Good point.
We might take a break from having a company vehicle. We might get something else. There's a lot of stuff out there right now. We've done a lot of mid-sized coverage. Is there a blind spot we're missing that you want to see? Let us know in the comments below.
Oh, very good. Be sure to like and subscribe while you're doing that as well. And yes, just pick something. Let us know. We'll we love y'all's comments. We read them.
Really
Thanks for watching.
See you later.